Okay, I was asked to do a video on threading this, so you can see that the spool thread's here, or you can use a thread holder. So we need to make sure that the foot is in the up position, and you bring the thread along and you put it in that clip there. So now what I'm going to do is zoom in so you can see this part up close. Just slightly down so you can see. It needs to go slightly up so you can see that. There. You can see everything now, the needle, the tension disc, everything else. So here we are. So it goes through one of the discs. Doesn't matter if it's the back one or the front one, but there are two discs here and it needs to go through one of those. And afterwards you'll need to adjust the tension. Okay, what you need to do is make sure that you hook it around that spring, tension spring, and under there. So you can see how when it sews that tension spring kicks in. Then you go up to the top. Oops, this is a fresh spool of thread. Let me grab a pair of scissors. Dog's getting involved here. There they are. Okay, cut that because it needs to. You need to make sure you've got a sharp point. Put it through the top feed. Hold the thread there. Clip it in there and there. Then what you need to do is put it through the needle clip and bring it all the way to the left. And then the next important thing is the needle goes with the flat side to the back. So what you have to do is put it down the hole, make sure the needle's all the way up. Put it down the hole, take thread out of the way, and the flat side to the back. Make sure it's definitely flat side to the back and flat at the back, because sometimes you can put them accidentally on an angle. Put it like that, and then what you do is you thread it from front to back through there. Okay, and that's threading the top. Now the next part, which is even more important, is the bobbin side. So when you tip the machine back, what you need to do is examine what you've got from a point of view of the bobbins. Now I've found that that's a bit of a pain at times. I've bought some aluminium bobbins, and though they don't hang in there perfectly, they spin very quietly. So you can use vintage ones, or these new ones work fine, but they don't hang in there. So here's the important part. Okay, this is the type of bobbin case you should have on this machine. It's got this big dent here. There is another type which doesn't have that dent, and this machine won't work very well with it. The original Singer, this is the 319K, but it's the same as the 306 and the 206. But the difference is, for this machine, in certain models, Singer realized if they put this slice down in the bottom of the bobbin, what would happen is it would sit lower, and that meant you could use standard needles rather than the 206 class needles, which are difficult to get. So once they introduced this particular type of bobbin, and there's a little slice or little proud bit there that slides into there, and if you have this type of bobbin case with this dent here, then you can use standard class needles. If you don't have that type, you have to use the 206 class needles. So what you do is make sure that, like most of these, there are two ways to put in your thread. Okay? Now, for standard tension, what you want to do is make sure the thread, if you're holding it in your left hand, comes off to the right side. Okay, so when you put it in to the bobbin case, you want the thread feeding off the top, so that when you pull it in there through the tension bit, okay, what you'll see is that it'll spin in the direction of that slice. That's really important to do. Now, you can spin it in the other way, which increases the tension, but you may find then you have to start monkeying around with these. And singers are quite, once you get them adjusted, every single time you do a project or change your thread, you quite often have to adjust your tension. That's just the way the singers are. Once you've got that to a fine art, it's not a problem. But when you get, this is not a vintage bobbin case, this is a replacement bobbin case, and I did get this off of eBay and it works perfectly well. Because my original case had worn out. Friction does wear them out. But it works quite well. I've had no problems with it. And once you adjust your tension, it's fine. And with these bobbins, I found they're low friction, so actually I get very good results. Then what you have to do is, I know normally you would hold up the tab, but I found that's one thing that's in this machine. It's quite difficult to do. And those aluminium bobbins don't stick in there anyway. So you just push it in, you click it in, it's in. So that's not a problem. You push on that thing to reduce it, and away you go. So now what you have to do is bring up your bobbin thread. And this should just work perfectly without any problem. So there's the bobbin thread up, and that will now sew fine. So I've got my, and you can see it's sewing perfectly well. So you can see as long as everything's in place, you're going to get perfect stitches off of that. And the stitches are indeed as I would expect. You can't see the black thread there, but I don't see any orange thread at all, and that looks pretty good. So I'm quite satisfied that that's stitching quite well. And that's all there is to threading one of these 319Ks. So if you've got other problems, then it's probably something else going on. And you need to look at, have you got your needle, is your needle the right way around? If you've got the right bobbin case, is your thread tension right? Because that's why I bought a new thread tensioner, or a new bobbin case, because it didn't work very well. And then you have to watch your tensions in the top, but beyond that it should just be straightforward.